Recording is up. All right, so welcome everybody to the week 2 live session. Again, I am your host, Chris Newton, for the TEM class, and week 2 is now on a roll. We end up getting into some new assignments. These are more industry focused, that rather than the first week where it was mainly, getting you to look at your time management and see where your time is going over the course of the month and start looking at some industry websites. Now we're actually going to delve into uh, more about where you would see yourself in the industry, and then also start learning about some of the actual lingo and terminology that your industry would actually use. So, first off is the actual 2.1 assignment. This one is a discussion board post, which you should have already understood what a discussion board post is all about before in the previous classes. But this one is mainly, there's two different submissions for this. The first one is going to be the initial post, and the initial post is due by Thursday. Okay? So please make sure that you mark that down. The initial post itself has to be turned in by Thursday. The reasoning for this is so the other peers in your class can actually have enough time to be able to do response posts. So you have to make sure that you are going in and getting that initial post done by Thursday. And that initial post itself has a couple of things that you actually have to answer in paragraphs for this. Then the second part of this assignment is responding to 4 other people about their post that they did, their initial post. And you have to make sure that each reply should be at least 1 paragraph containing 5 detailed sentences. Now, what we're looking for here is not, hey, I liked your post, it was great, good job, things like that. Really start thinking about how to respond. Usually what we try to tell people is think of the RISE model that you learned in creative presentation, and that is pretty much going through. Really give a good think about what what you read on that person, and then give actual commentary. What did you think about that post? Is there anything that you could add to that to bring to help them in that direction that they're trying to go with? Things like that. But just make sure that the response posts are pretty solid. Yes, Alexander, the RISE method. It's pretty much just looking over the post, reading through the post, and then giving your specific feedback on it, saying, hey, what you wrote was, really inspiring. I really thought that was an interesting take on how you actually see your industry. Have you ever thought about this type of thing? So ultimately, it's as long as you're not just doing quick little 5 sentences going, which pretty much would just sum up and say, I agree, you're gonna hit this. But make sure you are doing at least 4 response posts to your fellow classmates. And this one, the response posts have to be done by Sunday. So again, initial post by Thursday, response posts by Sunday. All right. So those are just the 2 different due dates for this assignment. Now keep in mind, all the discussion posts that we will have over the course of the month will follow this specific pattern. You want to make sure that you are doing all of the initial posts by Thursday, and then the response posts by Sunday. James, do you have a question? I see a hand up. Cool. So then we'll be getting into the actual initial post as to what we're going to be doing on here. So again, make sure that you're also looking at the rubric here at the bottom. As you see, it says initial post made no later than Thursday, and then you're going to be doing the 4 response posts by Sunday on this. What would you consider a valid source for citing? I imagine we don't need scholarly sources or anything, but I just wanted to know if things like game journalists are good enough. Yes. Any type of games article, things like that, that would actually help bolster up what you are talking about in your initial post would be considered citations. But yes, you don't have to go to scholarly resources or peer-reviewed journals for that. Just normal articles that you have seen that basically focus on where the industry is. Yes, Daniel, it's just basically more of a reference in this context. It's just pretty much when you're saying, hey, this is where I see the industry in this, you just look for articles that help back up the information that you're talking about. Or even just saying, hey, according to this article, this is where the industry is looking to go, and I feel that this is a good path for them to take, and you just explain about that. Sean, yes, there is right here. In the rubric, it's saying like the first paragraph that you have to write, you have to cite at least one source. And then the second paragraph, you're going to have to cite a source. So there are at least two sources that you're going to be doing for this one. All right? So the initial post, there's going to be 5 paragraphs for this. All right? The first paragraph is where you're going to look at your entire industry and write a paragraph talking about how you currently see your industry. What's it doing? What's your industry doing? What do you feel? Ooh, that's a big one. Yeah, that looks like a downloader. Yeah, the Rise model right there. Let's see if I can actually click it and pull it up. Yeah, it's just pretty much the Rise model is, reflect on their post. Then you can start inquiring, ask thought-provoking questions, things like that. Then suggest some improvement to the current project or the state. So if you have knowledge about what they're talking about, you can also include your information to kind of help elevate them to better understanding. Yes, Michael, we're inundated with microtransactions and stuff like that, but hopefully these new laws and stuff that are coming down will probably try and curb some of that a little bit, which will be interesting to see. All right. But ultimately, the first paragraph is going to be talking about looking at your entire industry, and then you're going to write about how you currently see it. All right? And then you have to make sure that you cite at least one source to back up the information that you're talking about in that first paragraph. All right? Then the second paragraph is forecasting how you see the industry growing in the next 5 to 10 years. This is where you could also talk about the microtransaction thing and the laws and whatnot if you're going into games and stuff like that. So again, you're going to talk about where you see your industry going in the next 5 to 10 years, and then again, you're citing at least one source to back this up. All right? So right now you're looking at roughly 2 paragraphs in. Then the third paragraph is just speculation as to where you see the industry in 25 years and how you think users, say customers and stuff, will actually be able to utilize this media, the products in games or technology in the next 25 years. Do you actually see us plugging in and, jacking ourselves in kind of like the Matrix or something like that? Who knows? This is all speculation. It's just pretty much where you think the industry would be in 25 years and how the users would consume the media. Yeah, I've actually seen quite a few people talking about Sword Art Online and doing the gear thing. Cheyenne, advice for graphics design. As far as which part, the 25 years or uh, seeing it in the next 5 to 10 years? Because in 25 years, it's just kind of speculation. This is your guess as to where the technology of graphics design. Do you think you're going to be using different type of technology? How will your clients and stuff utilize the media that you create for them in 25 years? Well, yeah, again, even if it's a broad industry, ultimately this is one where you are going to give your interpretation about it, especially on the third paragraph. The second two here is mainly going to be based off of cited sources. So if you're taking a look at how is your industry growing in the next 5 to 10 years, think about how do they market? How do you market yourself with graphics design? Um, how do you how is branding looking so far? Is there going to be another step in the evolution of how uh, you clients and companies be able to brand themselves and need you to be able to do that type of stuff? So again, it's ultimately just looking at what's going on in your industry and then speculating based off of the information that you've gotten for the first two paragraphs. So now, as you see, the third paragraph doesn't require you to cite anything. So again, because this is just speculation on this. Exactly, James. It's graphics design could be something like virtual reality interface design. It's just again, it's all speculation. This is about what you think it would be in 25 years and how you would think it. Because again, it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, think about where you think the industry would be in that time frame. 5 years is too long of a plan anymore. True, but again, you have to actually start looking at the trends and where trends are going in your industry and start looking to see how those trends will actually play out. Because that's how people and companies actually go when they look ahead and see where the trends are, and then they start adapting their technology and their way of doing business to those trends so they keep up on the times. So you really have to make sure that you are fitting all of that into here. I Andrea, I honestly don't see myself as alive, quote unquote, in 25 years, so it's hard for me to care enough to speculate what any industry alike is would be like. Yeah, but again, it's just kind of thinking and talking about, hey, maybe this is going to happen in 25 years in the industry. Who knows? And then that's you just expand upon that concept itself. So again, if it's like the games industry, it's like, oh, in 25 years, we'll probably actually be in full uh, virtual reality suits and stuff like that, where we're plugged in and our bodies are laying on our beds while we're actually interacting and feeling stuff inside the virtual reality world. Who knows? Again, that's the 25-year speculation. So yeah, like Ready Player One, you can talk about that because it's all about you thinking about how the industry would play out within 25 years. Yes, it's pretty much the what if question on that one. VR chat, yes. My roommate's actually building stuff for VR chat right now, and it's pretty cool. But again, that's the third paragraph for this. So now, the fourth paragraph. This one is pretty much just quickly labeling where you want your career to be in the next 5, 10, 15 years. What steps do you plan to get you to that 15-year goal? What awards do you want to have achieved on that? Where do you want to live? And what would your life look like? Okay? So you're just pretty much listing out where do you want your career to be in the next 5 to 10 to 15 years. List out what awards you want to have achieved in your industry. and list out where you want to live and what your life would look like. So this paragraph is just pretty much just like a quick little list. All right? You want to be the president of the United States in 25 years? Go for it. You can then throw that in there if you want to. But ultimately, again, it's where do you want your career to be in the next 5 to 10 to 15 years? All right? Then the final paragraph is now that you listed all this, summarize it. Give us more detail in this. This is where you're just going to have to kind of think a little bit more into this. Make sure that you just summarize it. And so, as you see, you got 5 paragraphs for this. This whole initial post needs to be done by Thursday. All right? So you have all today, what's left of today, tomorrow, and Thursday to get this in. Then you have to come back and do 4 response posts by reading 4 other people's posts and then respond to them by Sunday, again, utilizing the RISE model. All right? So the E is just summarizing the list that you gave for D. It's talking about that plan. Give us a little bit more detail as to how you would actually get all of this stuff implemented. All right? So I'm actually going to show you an initial post that is what I'm actually looking for. D is pretty much just listing what your 5, 10, and 15 year, where do you want to see your career in the next 5, 10 to 15 years? What steps do you plan to take to get you to that 15-year goal? Again, this is just talking about the steps. What awards do you want to have achieved? Where do you want to live? What would your life look like? That's ultimately just talking quickly about going, hey, in the next 5 years, I want my career to be where I am a texture artist. Say if you're doing computer animation, I want to be a texture artist. In 10 years, I want to actually be a project manager. And in 15 years, I want to actually own my company. So that's what you're talking about in those. And then what steps do you plan on doing this? Well, first, getting my degree. Second, this, that. And then what awards do you want to have achieved? Same thing, just list them off. All right? Then in D, you're summarizing that. Is giving, what kind of obstacles that you need. Talk about a little bit more in depth as to what's going on in that. So this is pretty much what this post should look like. All right? As you see, pretty decent sized paragraph. And again, you're seeing they actually added the citation in here. And then you can match it down below here. All right? Second paragraph, another decent sized one. Again, this is what we're looking at. And then you see the little citation in there. Then here's the speculation one for the 25 years. Then the fourth paragraph is just listing out how to be able to get your career in the 5, 10 to 15 years. And then you're just summarizing the plan, giving us a little bit more detail as to how you would actually reach that. And then you can put the references down below. All right? But this is typically what we're looking for right here. Yeah, I always recommend, Daniel, type it in a word processing application and a program like Google Drive, and then just copy and paste it into the discussion board. Yeah, Grammarly is awesome. As you see, I got it right here. So I can just go click. But yes, that's ultimately one of the big things that you could always use for this. Type it all out in a word processing program, then copy it, and then paste it into the discussion board. All right? Let's see if anybody's already posted. Yep. So yeah, as you see, these are some of the other posts as you look down from a previous class. Let's see if anybody's actually posted on mine right now. Nope. Nobody's done any posts in that section. Yeah, if you want to have help with citations, definitely Purdue OWL. Thanks, Jordan, for bringing that one up. Grammarly is awesome as well. But again, what we're really looking for on this is this type of caliber of uh, discussion board post. So again, make sure that you are going into detail on this type of stuff. Again, if you want to be able to cite sources on the other paragraphs, that's perfectly fine. But we're only really looking for the first two to have at least one citation for each paragraph. All right. But again, really don't overthink this assignment. It's ultimately just talking about your industry, where you see it currently, where you think it's going to be going in 5 to 10 years, and speculate on what goes on in where the industry is going in 25 years, and how clients, customers, users will actually utilize that what you produce in your industry in 25 years. Then, section 4 is just talking about your career and then summarizing it. Khaled, usually just just normal Google searches and looking, depending on your degree program. Any type of website that deals with your degree is perfect. You can usually just type it in there and type your sentence as to what you see, and then usually you'll end up getting a resource for it. No worries, Emmanuel. Usually I don't really hit a discussion post too hard for grammar and stuff, because again, I make concessions for those who English isn't their first language. But this is usually where I tell everybody to type it out first in a word processing program. That way they can utilize the the tools and do spelling and spell check, so it can kind of fix some of those really major grammatical errors. But otherwise, I would just do it that way, then just copy and paste it and then drop it into the discussion board once you're done. Very simple, very easy. But again, don't overthink these assignments. These are not hard. It's just look at what it's asking for, and then talk about it. And here's another one. Somebody actually did this on a PDF to make it pretty. You don't have to do this. But again, as you see, they were talking about VR systems and stuff, because he was going into game design. So he's like, hey, you're going to be utilizing VR systems. And then, hey, now in 10 years, you're actually going to see stuff like this. And then in 25 years, there's the Ready Player One, where he's like, hey, you're going to suit up and be able to actually fully immerse yourself into it. And then in the future career, he just lists out everything that goes. And then he did a little bit of a summary. Now, obviously, the summary is a little short, but again, this is another type of thing that you can do if you really want to make it look pizzazzy. VR is actually game design, game art, and SimViz. So you will game design. Actually, I saw earlier on Friday they were actually bringing in Oculus Go's and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool that they're already starting to work with more VR stuff. But again, you don't have to do this type of work if you don't want to. All I'm really looking for is a post like this. Oh yeah, Charles, I'm waiting. They already have the pre-orders for the Oculus Quest, so I'm like, woohoo! But again, this is the how the post should be in the 2.1. All right, and again, just double check the rubric. Make sure that you are hitting all of the exceptional categories here. Yeah, Manuel, they're definitely doing that. They already have a few, like the virtualizer, where you pretty much just wear socks, and it has a Teflon base that you stand on, and it makes your socks slide while you're harnessed in, and it makes you, when you move, it actually makes you move inside of the game and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, the ankle and wrist sensors are coming out as well. Uh, my roommate's actually using a Kinect to do some of his body tracking currently. Actually, Andrew, it is almost it's coming down the pipe for the holodeck. All right, so that's the 2.1 assignment. VR is going to be a mainstay now. Even in the medical fields and the military, they're utilizing the VR technology a lot now. It's really amazing. All right, so now we get into the 2.2. Steve, actually, the 1.2. Let's see. The 1.2 assignment, if you click on that link, that actually also gives you some websites that you can go to take a look at stuff like that for in your industry as well. So as you see, you can still actually utilize this to find some articles. All right. So we go into the 2.2 assignment. Now, this one, I kid you not, is a little lengthy. But again, don't think too hard on this assignment. There is two distinct things that you need to do for this one. The first part of it is choosing 7 terms from your degree program and explaining your own words the meaning, what the meaning is for each term based upon the definition that you looked up. Okay, so pretty much you're going to look up the term. Okay, so as you see, here's some of the terms that we have listed here. So say you're in computer animation and you're looking up portfolio. All right. Emmanuel, I do not know when you're going to get the rest of your launch box. They really don't tell us. All I can say is soon. Daniel, you can do a full-size sentence for the definition in your own words, but if you want to go a little bit more, that's perfectly fine. But we're looking at least for a good, solid descriptive sentence for this. All right. So say you chose portfolio as the first term in your degree field of computer animation. What you're going to do is you're going to look up the definition for that term. Then, once you understand the definition that they give you, then you're going to give it in your own words. You're then going to talk about it in your own words. So this isn't just guessing what the term means. You're actually looking at the term, getting the definition, and then giving your interpretation of what that term means to you based off of that definition. Okay? So you're going to choose 7 terms from your degree field and do exactly that. Look the terms up, look up the definitions of those terms, and then pretty much once you've done that, then tell me what you think the term is based off of that reference. Again, I was saying portfolio. So again, I'm just going to show you one. So say like artificial intelligence. Say that was yours. They looked up the term artificial intelligence, and then once they read the definition and then they understood it, then they gave their interpretation of that specific. Yes, this is what I'm looking for this. So as you see, this is pretty much what you're going to be building. That's why I say this is going to be a little in depth and long, but ultimately this is the type of stuff that you're going to be working on. But as you see, 7 terms for your degree program, and then you're going to do 7 from another degree program. Yep. So, doing 7 terms in your degree, you're going to define the definition in your own words. And then you see this thing right here. An example of those words used in references, such as that term being used in a job posting, a sentence, a quoted sentence, things like that. You're going to then have to go out and find a sentence that contains that specific word in it, and then you're going to quote it. All right? That's what this next, find a reference for each of those terms, and then you're going to be posting the example. All right? Make sure you cite the sources and provide link to those sources. Yes, Mayo, if you want to do it as a PDF, that's perfectly fine. Just as long as everybody can actually click on it. Steve, as far as the 2.1 assignment, like this, for this, that was just them being creative a little bit. But again, for that particular post, you can just do this like this. It's just pretty much a straightforward text document that you can copy paste it into that. Khalid, yes, you can do this in PowerPoint. In fact, this is how this individual created this one. I love how he did that one. But yes, in 2.2, you have to be creative in this because, again, as you see on the rubric, when you go all the way down below here, there's that fun little making it yours, customizing it and making it use, having cover titles, text formatting, headers, photos, icons, visual cues. Make sure that you spruce this up. But again, you're going to go and choose 7 terms from your degree and then 7 terms from another degree program. You're going to define all those terms in your own words after you look up the definitions for them. Then you're going to find examples of each of those terms being used in a sentence, and then you're going to quote those sentences. Then you're going to cite the sources for both of those. All right? So again, this is why I'm showing you the example here. As you see, they went alpha, beta, gold, final, or release. They did their definition in their own words right here. Then here is that quotation. Then they cited both. All right? They did that for all 7 terms in their industry. Artificial intelligence, definition in their own words after they looked up the definition so they could understand what that term means. Then they found a quotation, cited it. I closed it out. Oh no. Nope. So hold on one second. All right. I got to have my tabs. All right. So again, they went through all 7 terms for game design since that's where they were at. All right. And again, as you see, definition in their own words, and then the cited quote. And then they switched to game art and started doing it for game art. 7 terms for that as well. Definition in your own words, and then the quoted sentence, and you just keep it going. Yeah, I believe so. Yep. For those of you who are going to be in computer animation, you're going to learn this stuff, all the bones and the kinematics and stuff like that, and animation. So you're going to be doing some really good stuff. Daniel, do the words outside or field have to be the same secondary degree? No. You can mix and match as long as you have seven terms completed for the other degree programs. But you only need 7 total for the others. So say you do 4 for game art and 3 for cloud tech. That meets that other degree program 7. But for your degree program, you have to make sure it's all in your degree program. All right? But again, this is the type of stuff that I'm looking for on this. This is what we're going to be grading this on. You have to go in and make sure that you have 7 or more, all explained in your own words, and then show those professional the link, the quotes. Make sure you customize it to make it look pretty and stuff like that. And this is due on Sunday. All right. Yeah, it has to be pretty. I like looking at cool, pretty stuff. But again, this is the big one here. Make sure you have that quoted information of that term being used in a sentence. If you don't, that is roughly like 15 points off of the grade as soon as that happens. So please make sure that you have that quoted sentence in there. It doesn't have to be this big. It is, as long as it's like one sentence that shows that term being utilized in a sentence, that's fine. But again, just make sure that you have that information in there. And the definition in your own words is after you have read the definition and looked it up, and then you're just reinterpreting the definition in your own words as to what it means to you based off of that information. And yes, you can build this in PowerPoint if you want to. That's perfectly fine because you can easily convert a PowerPoint to a PDF from there. But you can also do this in Word and just make sure that you're dropping images in there, making sure you format it, all that good stuff. But that is the 2.2 assignment. Not that hard. It's just giving you an idea as to all of the different terminology that not only your industry utilizes, but you're going to be working with these other industry other industries, and they're going to be throwing out this terminology to you as well. So it's kind of good to be able to understand what they're talking about. Yes, it just looks overwhelming, but it isn't. It's not that hard. It's just going through and just start going, okay, which 7 terms do I want to use? All right. And then you go through and choose the 7 terms that you want to use. Okay, based off of this, just choose 7. Go look those terms up, understand the definition, and then give us your understanding of that definition. And then for each of those terms, you're just going to go out and look up a cited quote as to how that term being used in a sentence, and then you do that for all 14 terms. 7 from your degree program, 7 from another. And that's pretty much it. This one is going to be probably the longest assignment that you will have for this class. Jordan, I do have a question, and it's pretty generic. Why PDF? Is it because it reflects a final version of the assignment? Actually, it saves on us from actually having to download all those assignments, because what ends up happening is if we actually have to download this on our computer, it pretty much fills up our computer really fast. and then we have to kind of dump it, and then if a student goes back and says, oh, hey, I have a question about ours, we'd have to re-download the assignment, and it makes it a lot easier for us to just easily click on this, and it opens it up in a web browser. Yeah, it's more compressed, so we can actually take a look at it quicker. No, it's not really a paragraph for all 14. It's as long as you have a cited sentence. So, say you're just for alpha for quick sake on this, all you would need is that sentence. But since this one has alpha, beta, gold, final, you're seeing this bigger paragraph. Same thing with like artificial intelligence. You could just easily go, if you've ever played a video game, you'll do that. That would be a sufficient cited quote for that. Just like this one. See, this one's much more smaller because it's just utilizing that one sentence. But that's the pattern for this. Term, definition in your own words, cited sentence that utilizes that word, then put the sources, and then you just follow that pattern all the way through. Yes, Luke, if you want to use a link shortener, that's perfectly fine. As long as we can actually just click on it and it takes us right to the page, because we do go and try to take a look and see if you're actually going in and giving us a true quote. Yeah, I use Bitly quite a bit as well, especially like on Google Docs and stuff when they're like extremely long. But yes, as you see, when this is done, you're going to have like 14 to 15 pages. It's just primarily, say you want to look at portfolio. Typically what I would do on this is you would just go computer animation portfolio. And then you can start looking through all of this stuff. That's how you typically go. Or you can just go portfolio definition. And then bang, you can start looking through all of this stuff. Why does everyone like Doc over Word? Well, for Google Docs, it's already backed up, so I don't actually have to go in and drag and drop files and stuff like that, because I can always build it out here. But I still do use Word on occasion. Chris, yes, you do need to make sure that you have imagery and stuff in here. Again, that's part of the making it yours. As you see, photos, icons, visual cues, things like that. You got to make it pretty. Seamus, since we do references during each term, do we need a reference page? No. You do not need a reference page if you don't need to. If you don't want to make it. Because all the citations are right there next to the terms and stuff. But again, if you want to, that's up to you on that. That's why I said it's usually when I see these types of things, it's usually either 14 to 15 pages, because 14 would just be all the terms, and then they would have the links here. 15 pages is they actually stuck a citation sheet at the end. But that's up to you guys on how you want to do that. Yes, Alexander, you can use YouTube and TED Talks if you want as well. You don't have to use written articles and stuff like that. You can actually utilize video media for that too as well. Yeah, this assignment does look daunting, but it really isn't. It's all of this assignment is geared for is to make sure that you are understanding the technology lingo that you're going to be getting yourself into, because you're going to be hearing these words all the time from here on out. And so it's good to understand what those words actually mean and how they're used in context. But popsicles are good. Yeah, I understand that, Andrew. But again, mostly all you need to do is just make sure that you have a cover sheet. Um, kind of just what a cover sheet is just something like this. As long as it's like saying utilizing, your name, your degree program, the class, and stuff like that, and what the assignment's all about, and then you just go in and just drop images in here. And again, we don't care where you're getting the images from. We don't the copyright and stuff. Don't worry about that. You can utilize images that other people just like copy paste it and drop it in here. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, it's just primarily just copy paste images in there, then write your definition and then the citation on that. This one right here, James, was made in PowerPoint. PowerPoint's really, really cool for that type of stuff, especially if you want to have some good layout, because then you can just easily set up the pictures without having to deal with Word document formatting and stuff like that. Perfect, Emmanuel. Yeah, PowerPoint is perfectly fine. You saw the Epic Store and got discouraged, huh? Yeah, I look at macrotransactions and I get really discouraged. It's like they want more of my money for something that's already in the game. James, you will be needing to utilize a presentation piece of software sometime in your degree program. You will be using that quite a bit. I'm actually going to be trying to get that World War Z game, Alexander. I've been looking at that and I'm like, oh boy, I want to actually play that. See, Fortnite will suck your wallet into itself and then just leave it a withering husk after it took all your money. Now, I haven't played Mortal Kombat 11 yet, mainly because Angry Joe did a really funny review on that one. Oh yeah, Jordan. I think this Saturday I'll most likely own World War Z, and I'll probably be on it trying to blow up some zombies. I've heard some good things about Days Gone as well. I mean, that's another one. I just wish it was on PC. I tend to utilize PC much more. But okay. Does anybody have any other questions about the 2.2 assignment, the terms and technology? That's a negative, Ghost Rider. Yeah, once I explain the assignment, once the assignment's explained, it sounds fairly easy. It just again, it's more length. This is definitely one that will take you a little bit longer to complete, but it's just following the same pattern of put the term down, do the definition in your own words, find a quoted sentence that's the terms being used in, and then quote that stuff. Go to the next one, and it's just rinse and repeat all the way through. Okay. Jordan, I actually enjoy my 1660 Ti. It's been pushing everything that I've been throwing at it, including my VR, and it hasn't given me any issues at all. I mean, I go Beat Saber full expert level stuff, and it's just holding its own really quick. Yep, James, the 1660 Ti. Yep. I don't know the HP laptops. I'm not sure what they actually have. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's definitely one a good graphics card that'll push anything that the degree program throws at you. The 1660 Ti actually pulls out slightly ahead of the 1070. Meho. No, I actually had a 1050, and yeah, that didn't push my VR system very well. So I was like, yep, I'm gonna have to bump up to it, and I'm like, I don't want to have to pay for a massive 2080 and 2060 and things like that. So then they released the 1660s, and I'm like, that's for me. Grabbed it. That's cool. It definitely does exactly everything that I want it to do. Yeah, I have a 1050 in my other laptop as well, and it does well, but it definitely doesn't push VR stuff. All right, but those are the two assignments for this week. And again, they're not that hard. It's just more research and then more giving your view on things, especially for the 2.1. And then the 2.2 is just pretty much standard fare, just defining the word and then giving a quoted sentence and then doing that for all 14 terms. But does anybody have any other questions for the 2.1 or the 2.2 assignment? Cool, cool. Steve, for the Industry Heroes discussion, are we able to discuss companies? Yes, you can actually discuss companies if you want. Yeah, thank you, James. Same thing with artists. Oh, Seamus. Sorry. I knew I was going to butcher somebody's name soon. It is optional, Caleb, if you don't really want to do anything. But again, I would just go in if you want to, be friendly with your fellow classmates. No, it doesn't affect your GPS score at all. Yeah, if you want to talk and be friendly with your fellow classmates and stuff, you would go and post on those community discussion boards. What, you don't want to be friendly with everybody? Oh boy. No, you want to be competitive. Woohoo! Yeah, you can sit around in a circle singing Kumbaya, all that good stuff. It works. Maybe get together and do Dance Dance Revolution. All right. So if there's no other questions for uh, any of the assignments for this week, that is pretty much it for this live session. What can you do in game design for job employment? Pretty much anything. If you want to be a scripter, you want to be a level designer, you can even do some asset building and stuff like that. You're going to learn all. You can even do the technical writing. You can make up the game design documents. You're going to be going through the whole entire kit and caboodle. Yeah, Discord's really, really good. Oh, it's all right, Matthew. I'm glad you were able to make it. Yeah, no, definitely no Anthem situation. Anthem is stinky pew pew. All right, so that is it for this live session. And again, just keep in mind, if you do end up running into any questions over the course of the week, please just reach out to your instructor, and they will be more than happy to help assist you on your questions. Is CPU animation available online? Computer animation, yes, is available online. The computer animation program is definitely online for Full Sail. I'm not sure, Emmanuel. You may end up having to be in a group for that type of stuff. But again, that's going to be much later on in the degree field on that. But I think you do have to group up and make a group game. But yeah, Unreal Engine 4 and Unity 3D is going to be the two that you're going to be using for game design. It is possible, Emmanuel, but you would probably have to talk to the instructor for that, because again, they may want a really big project off of you, and if it's too much, you're going to probably end up having to group up. But again, I would definitely ask them on that one. Yes, Ashley, you're going to be using ZBrush in game art. That's probably about a year in, but you'll most likely be you're definitely going to be using ZBrush. The sad thing is, when I went through computer animation and stuff like that, they were just releasing ZBrush the month after I completed the degree program, so I missed getting to use ZBrush. Luke, I'm not sure about that. You would probably have to contact your student liaison to see if you have to purchase your own Apple Pencil. Yeah, I'm just a lowly peon. They don't tell me much about all of the hardware and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm just a serf. James, general question. Do you know if my future professors in game art are going to require me to do my work on the MacBook they send us? Yes, you will be utilizing your MacBook, but one thing that I would recommend too is making sure that you have all your stuff also on a PC or a desktop, because the Macs are going to heat up really quick, and you're going to definitely, if you really want to work on it for a long period of time, you're definitely going to be using it on a desktop for short stints, the Mac will be fine. Yeah, James, you can actually do it on the PC and then turn it in, as long as they can actually open the project file and stuff like that. I don't see any reason why you can't just use your PC. I mean, that's what I did. I used everything on I built everything on my PC and just turned it in. I just used my Mac for in case I needed to go on campus and deal with all that stuff. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to just focus and use your desktop, by all means. Yep, not a problem, James. It's all right. I will see everybody next week on the week 3 live session. Thank you all for coming. And again, just reach out to your instructor if you do have any other questions about that stuff. And now I am going to go and try to drain my ear. Have a good evening, everybody.